All right, today we're talking about gas and gas limits on Ethereum. So anytime you send a transaction, you have to pay a fee. And that fee is determined by how much gas is used and the gas price that you set when you submit your transaction. And these are two separate items. The amount of gas that is used is based on the amount of operations that your transaction does. So if you're just sending ETH to somebody else, there's no logic in a smart contract happening. There's no additions, multiplications, data being stored. And that's the smallest and cheapest amount you can send, which is 21,000 gas units. If we take a look at another sort of website here, then you can sort of see that each of these operations has a specific amount of gas associated with it. So an example is if I query the balance of an address in my smart contract, I have to pay 400 gas units. And so that is the amount of gas that's being used in a transaction. The next thing is the gas price, right? So this is the amount of Ethereum you're willing to pay per gas unit that's consumed in your transaction. And the higher this gas price, the more likely a miner is to prioritize your transaction and get it into the block. And so if we look at the transaction fee, we can see that it's really just the gas price times the gas used by the transaction. And just to make this a little more concrete, let's take a look at the state changes for this transaction. So this was setting just a USDT transfer transaction. And we can sort of see that some memory addresses got updated. So in order to run the logic to check if the user had the balance, we had to do some reading of memory, so that cost some gas, and then we had to save and update the balances of the sender and receiver, and so each one of those used gas. And for this transaction, that ended up being 41,221 gas units multiplied by this amount of ETH, and that gave us the transaction fee here. So hopefully that makes a little more sense. Gas amount is the number of units of operations that happens, and gas price is how much you're willing to pay per operation.